Hey everyone, and welcome. Let's jump right into today's explainer. We are looking at something absolutely crucial: how to future-proof your career in an industry that is literally rooted in tradition, but is right now going through a massive, massive technological revolution. Yep, we're talking about the wine industry, and specifically, we're going to examine the ultimate tool designed for this, the University of Udine's master's program in wine supply chain management. So let's get right to it. I want to kick things off by asking you a really fundamental question. Is your wine business actually ready for Industry 5.0? Look, for generations, winemaking has relied super heavily on old school memory, right? Tradition, gut feeling. A winemaker might stand in the vineyard and say, wow, I've never seen a harvest quite like this. Mostly just because, well, human memory is kind of flawed. But is relying on that gut feeling really enough to survive today's super rapid shift toward data-driven agriculture? Honestly, the short answer is no. Working blind, it's just no longer an option. Here's our quick roadmap for today's explainer. Number 1, the industry's rapid shift. 2, the professional pit stop. 3, pillars of the program. 4, real-world wine logistics. And 5, the master program details. Okay, kicking off with Section 1, the industry's rapid shift. You see, global and technological changes have completely outpaced the traditional schooling most of us received back when we were sitting at our university desks. Right now, we're witnessing this absolutely crucial intersection where precision viticulture meets enology 5.0. Things like sustainability, circular economies, and massive data collection, what we all call big data, these aren't just trendy buzzwords anymore. They are the new, non-negotiable baselines if you want a competitive modern winery. Out in the vineyard, it's all about precision viticulture. Down in the cellar, it's enology 4.0 or 5.0. It's really about gathering just a mountain of data, and more importantly, having the actual skills to organize and analyze it. That's how you optimize processes, cut down on waste, and get a very real competitive advantage. Moving right along to Section 2, the professional pit stop. Now, if you're already out there working in the industry, the idea of going back to school might kind of feel like taking a step backward, right? But this program is explicitly designed not as a retreat, but as a strategic acceleration. Professor Roberto Zeroni, who directed the first edition of this course, described it so perfectly. He called it, quote, a sort of pit stop. We stop the car, change the tires, give them an update, and restart with a push on new tires. I just love that. It's a fantastic metaphor. This master's is really meant to give active, busy professionals an immediate, tangible, competitive edge. It lets you bring real, cutting-edge innovation straight back to your own cellar. Which brings us to Section 3, pillars of the program. So what exactly goes into this engine upgrade we're talking about? Well, take a look at the sheer academic rigor of the official 60 CFU, or University Credit Study Program Manifesto. What's super interesting here is that it draws on expertise not just from the agriculture department, but from the engineering and economics faculties too. It's incredibly comprehensive, and it's meticulously built to cover the entire supply chain, top to bottom. Okay, to make that a bit easier to digest, let's distill that massive curriculum down into 4 clear main pillars. First up, sustainable viticulture and enology. This is all about the circular economy and seriously reducing your environmental impact. Second, we have digitalisation and automation. Here, they're actually teaching you how to handle IoT devices, Industry 4.0 systems, and applied statistics. Third is production and logistics, covering the nitty-gritty of supply chain and project management. And finally, the 4th pillar, marketing and internationalization. Because let's face it, making a great wine is really only half the battle. You still got to sell this stuff. These modules are specifically designed to build transversal skills across your entire operation. Let's dive into Section 4, real-world wine logistics. Stepping away from the academic theory for a second and looking at the gritty realities of the global market, like I said, making the wine is only half the challenge. Let's talk about enological logistics. This is the strategic transit and storage of wine. And guys, there is a truly shocking reality highlighted in the course material here. Italy is literally the world's top wine producer, right? Yet, it severely lacks temperature-controlled logistics centers built specifically for wine. In fact, Professor Zeroni noted there might be barely one dedicated temperature-controlled facility. That is wild. It means we produce these incredible premium wines, ship them across the world, and have almost zero control over the temperature they're stored at during transit. We're basically just crossing our fingers and hoping the product hasn't totally deteriorated by the time someone opens it on the other side of the globe. And speaking of the other side of the globe, let's talk about internationalization. The absolute most crucial point here is truly understanding your target market. Think about it. It is one thing to pitch a premium, super complex wine in a fast-paced, cosmopolitan hub like New York City. But it's an entirely different reality trying to sell that exact same bottle in a rural Texas saloon, right? Country music playing, cattle horns on the wall, a place where beer is the undisputed king. You absolutely have to know your audience and adjust your entire strategy accordingly. Plus, if you're targeting the United States, you aren't just targeting one single country. 50 US states essentially means 50 completely different sets of regulations. It's a massive headache. This staggering complexity proves exactly why strategic marketing and legal know-how are absolutely crucial for export success. The whole DIY, figure it out as you go approach, that only gets you so far. You need real tools to navigate these super complex international markets. And that is exactly what that fourth pillar of the program is built to address. All right, moving into our final section, Section 5, Master Program Details. So you might be wondering, how on earth does a working enologist or agronomist actually fit a rigorous university program into an already overflowing schedule? Well, the University of Udine has actually broken it down into 3 really clever steps. Step 1 is blended online lectures. To maximize your convenience, most of the heavy theory is taught online on Friday evenings and Saturdays. Step 2 brings in intensive in-person labs. Twice a year, for just a few days, the whole cohort gathers in Udine for vital face-to-face networking and hands-on laboratory work. And finally, Step 3 is a final practical stage or project. If you're already employed, this is actually a real-world project you implement directly in your own company. Pretty great, right? And if you're not currently working, it's an internship with a partner winery. Now take a look at this genius timeline. The whole program spans 2 years, but is neatly broken into 2 semesters. Semester 1 runs from January to July 2026. Then, and I think this is just brilliant, there is a complete pause from August to December 2026. Why? Because obviously, that's the harvest season. The university deliberately halts all classes so that agronomists and enologists never have to abandon their cellars during the absolute most critical time of the year. Then, Semester 2 just picks right back up from January to July 2027. If this is sounding exactly like the pit stop you need right now, here are the essential admissions details you need to know. It is a very exclusive cohort. They cap it at a maximum of just 25 students. You do need a minimum of a bachelor's degree to apply. Selection is based on your CV and a potential interview just to assess your background and motivation. And definitely mark your calendars. The strict application deadline is October 9th, 2025. As for the investment in your professional future, the official tuition cost sits at €6,032. And practically speaking, the university allows this to be smartly divided into 2 equal installments. You pay one at enrollment and the other the following year, which makes the whole thing much more manageable for a working professional. So we've covered the rapid technological shifts, the absolute vital need for new skills, and the exact mechanics of this University of Udine master's program. I want to leave you with one final, provocative thought to take away from this explainer today. Are you ready to become a promoter of innovation in your cellar? Seriously, the tools, the massive amounts of data, and the high-level education are all out there waiting for you. It's totally up to you to pull into the pit stop, change those tires, and drive the transformation in your own wine business. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and as always, keep learning.